Today I'm going to show you guys how to transplant the easy way, the simple way, the old school way. Nothing special here as far as technology, just basic transplanting with minimal tools. That's coming up next on The Urban Farmer. Alright, I'm transplanting a bunch of basil into my raised grow bed right now. I've got drip irrigation in here, and that's going to make it pretty easy for us to spec out where we're going to put these plugs. So we'll go through one thing at a time. The first thing that I'm doing right now is I've got flats that I'm popping the plugs out of. So I've got this one here to do as well. And I'm just basically popping these out with a simple screw. Again, I know there's fancier ways to do this, I know there's better technology to do this, but I'm going to show you guys the really simple way because this has worked for me for many years, and I figure I might as well show you the simplest and cheapest way to do this because I know the majority of people that are starting farms on a tight budget just like I was, and that's how we're going to do this. So basically what I'm doing is going through, popping out plugs out of the seed flat, and I'm putting them loose into an open flat so the plugs are loose. That way they're easy to grab and plant. And I layer them in a certain way. I start on the back of the flat and then I move my way forward so that when I'm on the ground I can grab the ones up top. And I space them out relatively wide so they don't get too tangled up and they're easy to grab. So the reason I'm popping these out here and not in the field is that by doing it this way, it means I have less time bending over, which is what I want because I have a bad back, as I'm sure many people watching this do too. I want to do as much of the preliminary work as I can standing up where it's comfortable, and then I'll go put a bunch on the ground and then I'll come and do more. It's really important for the ones that you've popped out that they stay in the shade. You have one flat with you that you're going to plant, but then the rest keep in the shade because the roots are exposed and you don't want to leave them in the air and sun for very long. So I've got enough to start with now, so let's go onto the bed and I'll show you how they go in the ground. Two basic tools, simple garden trowel, and a measuring tape. First thing I'm going to do is I'm planting these at 6-inch centers, and so the nice thing about marking out my bed is that I've got drip lines that will give me my placement going this way, but I need to get my placement in row. So all I got to do is mark out one row. I'll just put my fingers in holes every 6 inches, and then every single row after that will just be offset to the other. So it's not exact, but it's good enough, and it's really simple. So I've marked one row. Now I'll plant that row, and then I don't need to mark anything else. I'll just plant offset to that. What you can do sometimes is just drop the plugs on the ground so they stay in place and you just plant them in place. So notice as I'm planting, I'm putting my trowel in The plug goes in straight after, and as I pull the trowel out, I'm closing the hole back, and it's done in one quick motion. A lot of people when they're transplanting, they're just nursing each plug. You don't need to do that. It's one of these things that is nice to do, it looks nice, but you really need to look at what's functional, what's practical, what saves time, and what gets the job done. And nursing each little plug when you have hundreds or thousands to plant, it's just not economical. You put those plugs in the ground, they want to grow. So that's it, pretty simple. When you're not planting in a landscape fabric and just open soil, it is a lot easier and faster to transplant. And I just wanted to show you guys how we do this, because this might have a lot of application to people who have gardens or really small farms, because they're just old school techniques. But really pay attention to the way I move my hands and how quickly those plugs go in. That's really important. You want to minimize the amount of time you have bending over or kneeling in the field, and just get that job done really quick. So I hope you guys have found that helpful. If you want to see more stuff like this, hit the subscribe button right now. Like and share these videos with your friends. Check out my online course, profitableurbanfarming.com, and my book and other workshops and things that I have at my website at theurbanfarmer.co. And if you guys would like to make a donation to the show, it's much appreciated. Always welcome. You can do that at theurbanfarmer.co/support. All right, see you soon.